I think that
Listen close to what she
everyone is
said.
going to have to take a hard look at where they want to be at this moment in history, as we're looking at efforts across the country to prevent people from being able to exercise their fundamental rights. Go ahead.
Wait a minute. Wait. First of all, you're not going to speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
I think that
Listen close to what she
everyone is
said.
going to have to take a hard look at where they want to be at this moment in history, as we're looking at efforts across the country to prevent people from being able to exercise their fundamental rights. Go ahead.
Wait a minute. Wait. First of all, you're not going to speed past that like you didn't.
Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Noise in this gospel, bro. I lift up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is a quick lesson through the spirit. This is by this devil, Jen Psaki. Okay, she does a lot of the White House press conference, part of the Biden administration. You heard what she just said. I'm not familiar on how long ago that video was, but just looking at the comments.
I think that
Listen close to what she
everyone is
said.
going to.
Let me pause it. You got 8 days ago. Okay, that's when this last reply was. So it may have been some time recent. But regardless, that's telling you about taking away fundamental rights. And I did a search on fundamental rights, and it's basically your constitutional values, which technically you Jakes, you blacks, Hispanics, and natives was looked at 3/5 of a man. So it really didn't apply to us to some degree. But you have what they call affirmative action, which gives so-called blacks the right to work and vote and all that other nonsense. But it says fundamental rights are a group of rights that have been recognized by a high degree of protection from encroachment. It says these rights are specifically identified in the Constitution or have been found under due process of law. It says the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal 16, established in 2015, underscores the link between promoting human rights and sustainable peace. And they give you a list of rights. It says some universal recognized rights that are seen as fundamental contained in the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the UN International Covenant of Civil and Political Rights, or the UN International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, including the following: right to self-determination, right to liberty, which we don't have, right to due process of law, right to freedom of movement, which that's finally because you need a passport to get out of the country, and you need an ID. Freedom of movement requires traveling. Okay, it's the difference between driving and traveling. Okay, so this freedom of movement, they're narrowing it down to just being able to go outside your house and go get groceries and stuff like that, which those are necessities. Okay, that's not really freedom. That's basically a right, which they're getting ready to take away because come 2023, there was some things out there that they were speaking about these new climate lockdowns and these new particular lockdowns from this new pestilence that's on the horizon. Okay, now we're not sure what they're gonna do with that. So, we just speaking through the spirit. But we did just have a blood moon about a month ago. And those blood moons signify impending danger and judgment coming upon the earth. So that's nothing to take lightly. But I can guarantee you that another pestilence bigger than this one is coming in some form of fashion. Okay, it says right to privacy, which you don't have. These smartphones, these particular algorithms, they're spying on you. That's why a lot of times when you download these apps or you download these media sites, oftentimes you waiving your rights of privacy because they can tap in, they can listen, and they have access to certain information through third-party vendors. And a lot of times what happens is they sell your information to these third parties, and then your information gets compromised, and this is when you have all these robocalls and all this other stuff. Like I received something in the mail from T-Mobile about a month ago stating that I can get in on a lawsuit because they've breached over so many hundreds of thousands of customers' information. So why you get these unsolicited calls or these solicited calls. But freedom of thought, freedom of religion, which they're getting ready to take away all this under this new world order. It was a lesson I wanted to go into that the beloved brother Amwan Gabar actually was going into about the spiritual power and the new coming Terminators, the robots. It's a pretty deep lesson, man. And Lord's will, I'll finish watching the rest of that lesson tonight. And Lord's will, I'll get to it sometime tomorrow because I have a few lessons in plan that I want to do. Just today was a kind of long day, mentally draining, and I just want to keep it simple through the spirit. But I have those lessons on the book, including also the one about the new upcoming pestilence, which that will go on the Odyssey page. And I will post a link in the description. But through the spirit, I will get around to those lessons. It's just a matter of kind of time management and putting the schedule into play. But nonetheless, we will get into them sooner than later, Lord's will. It says freedom of expression, right to peacefully assembly, which is what we do on the street corners, which they're trying to stop. It says rights to freedom of association. Okay, you got specific jurisdictions, freedom of press, peaceful assembly, which is what we do on the highways and the byways when we come together. Well, on the it's a peaceful assembly due to the First Amendment rights. But this lady basically told you that they're gonna take away the rights, and that's what they're planning on doing, like with the whole 911 back in September. And I say 911 because the algorithms are pretty much janky. They're basically targeting people based on what they're saying. But another reason why I think that they let up on the algorithms is because they want to see and target who's going to speak on the common atrocity, so they can have a clear indicator on who's against this system and who's not. See, Esau, you got to be, you got to be wise. You can't be ignorant of his devices, But with the new coming lockdowns and what this whole 9/11 thing did back in 2001, which they called the NDAA Act, which is the National Defense Authorization Act 2, which declared every United States citizen a terrorist or a domestic terrorist. So therefore, they have the right to take away your freedoms if they deem you a threat to
have to take a hard look at where they
national security, which, this is all concocted madness, all through the pushing of paperwork, different agendas, different administrations. Like Obama administration was the primary catalyst as to pushing the paperwork of the NDAA 2 for your lockdowns today and your coming of civil freedoms being taken away. Okay, the same with the implantable device that was part of the Obamacare back in 2013. So they've been pushing paperwork to get these policies up and running to do just what you're seeing now, and it's going to continue to increase because what the C-19 did was basically waive your rights, and basically if they deemed you a health risk, they can take you to prison and lock you up in a quarantine camp. Okay, and this is what they did during the time of the Greeks. This is what they did during the time of the Romans. Okay, to the nation of Israel, our people. They took away our freedoms. They took away the right of us serving our power, and basically we had to reestablish order in the temple. Okay, but you had other Israelites that was opposing the order that was established by Jason, the high priest, Onias. Okay, because you had other Israelites that wanted to live among the Greek. They wanted to live up the Greek fashion. So therefore, there was scrummages among the priesthood. And when they couldn't overthrow Onias, the high priest, basically they went to other counselors to try to concoct a fabrication in order to get them to waive the rights and to do away with the people of our nation. Okay, so you got sellouts among our people to this very day of these different camps, different splinter groups that's pushing the narrative that's polar opposite to what Yahweh Bashim Yahushai has declared the prophets to push. Like this whole technocracy, or what you call the fourth industrial revolution, which deals with a technocracy, which is a society that's based on AI. What happens in that is they control mechanisms through particular computer chips and AI, and that's the way with the future, AI. Okay, and you got other camps out there that's not speaking on these particular bullet points, and it's clearly in your face. It's relevant. Okay, it's being talked about in the news. It's being shown in movies. Like, movies aren't just movies for entertainment. Movies are actually predictive programming. Okay, they show you in hindsight what they want to do. Like Songbird, that movie took place, which is called the C-19 or C-23 or the C-23. The movie Songbird took place in 2023. If you look at the epilogue of it, or the prologue, Salakia. Okay, it tells you about the synopsis about how this thing kicked off in 2023. They locked everybody down. Everybody was quarantined, and people was pretty much enemies of the state, and that took place in 2023. You see, and also like the movie Terminator, found out that those particular that movie, The Terminator, was basically like a documentary of some sort, okay, of what the military actually have in store, okay, what they call Skynet, those particular brain mechanisms and those brain computer chips that operates the AI and those robots. That shit actually exists, okay. And if you watch the Matrix movie and you watch the Terminator movies, there's somewhat of a crossover within the same universe, which deals with the technocracy. So this guy James Cameron, okay, Avatar, Titanic, freaking Terminator movies, he was handpicked specifically to direct these movies because this guy James Cameron, he's a high level witch. He's juiced in, okay, with the elites, or I should say with the Masonic or the Jesuit order. This is why he have insight to these movies, and this is why he come up with these particular scripts to show you what's in store. Okay, so movies are more than just mere entertainment. You have to watch them with a spiritual lens. Okay, but anyway,
Want to be?
get into a couple precepts here, man, and we're gonna make it quick. All right, so this is the book of Isaiah 10:1. It says, "Woe to them that decree unrighteous decrees, that write grievousness which they have prescribed." Okay, unrighteous decree is a law. Okay, they're unrighteous laws because they do away with the freedoms. They do away with your ability to move around and to think. Okay, they basically stated that, well, if you're not partaking in this technocratic system, then basically you are an enemy of the state. We have to watch you. We have to take away your rights. We have to detain you and possibly put you to death because you are considered a threat to the civil freedoms of the new world. Okay, that's an unrighteous decree because it's based on madness, man. Okay, like they're doing away with farming, agriculture, you know, and they're basically doing away with farming because they're talking about that's polluting the earth. They're talking about carbon and carbon footprint and all this other stuff with AI, and the fact that farming is pretty much causing global warming and these pollutants and so forth. And the fact that's not true. Okay, farming has always been the way, and agriculture has always been a sound way of getting food and crops and to bring balance to the earth. But what Esau wants to do, he wants to do away with farming, and he wants to give you artificial farming. Okay, he wants you to eat lab bugs, meat grown in a laboratory. Okay, what you call that new meat they got is called they got something that's called the Impossible Whopper, so-called vegan-based meat, which that ain't nothing but crap, man. It's nothing but soy, you know, chemicals concocted together in the form of a plant-based patty. You see, but that's the world that we're entering into. Okay, they're gonna take away beef, lamb, chicken, and they're gonna replace it with artificial bugs, sorts of proteins, you know, fake meat, rubber patties. Like Klaus Schwab say, you will own nothing and be happy. That's an unrighteous decree. And when you prescribe something, that means that you're basically enforcing it somewhat. And it says to turn aside the needy from judgment and to take away the right from the poor of my people. Okay, and we have no rights here. Clearly, the Israelite man has no rights. He's on the bottom of the totem pole. Okay, a dog have more rights in probability in this system than the so-called black men do. And everybody knows that, and they play off the powerless aspect of the so-called black man because they know he's not in a position to defend himself. We're basically still in chains, man. Where everybody is spitting. We're basically like a human zoo. Everybody come out, they scoff us, they mock us. They fan their hand at us, and yet, you know, we can't do anything about it. But it's coming to a time that Yahweh Shai is going to break those bonds off us, and we're going to be able to react on the wickedness that we see. Just a matter of time. But it says to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, that they may rob the fatherless, man. And that's our people, because most of our people are growing up without the fathers. They're growing up without guidance, you see. And through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai, we're getting our heritage back and our understanding. All right. So let's go from here to the book of First Maccabees 1. And I'm going to start at verses... this whole chapter is really good. So let's start at verses 23. It says, he also took silver and gold and the precious vessels. He also took the hidden treasures which he found. And when he had taken all away, he went into his own land, having made a great massacre and spoken very proudly. Therefore, there was a great mourning in Israel in every place where they were. And the princes and the elders mourned, and the virgins of young men were made feeble, and the beauty of women was changed, right, man? Because women was raped, they were killed, okay? They basically put on sackcloth, they were mourning, okay? It says the young men were made feeble, meaning they were broken down, they were made weak, okay? Our garrisons, our strongholds, our horns was broken through the invasion of the Greeks. And it says, and every bridegroom took up lamentation, and she that sat in the marriage chamber was in heaviness. Why? Because their husbands were killed. It says, and the land was also moved for the inhabitants thereof, and all the house of Jacob was covered with confusion. And after 2 years fully expired, the king set his chief collector of tribute to the cities of Judah, who came into Jerusalem with a great multitude, okay? And today, that is going to be in the form of these military troops to enforce this martial law, because this MOTB and this new system is going to be forced at gunpoint. You either going to get down with it, or they're going to put you down, okay? Or if not, they're going to detain you until they feel that they can rehabilitate you. But those of us that's not basically programmable, basically we're slated for death, okay? Because the New World Order is going to be forced at gunpoint, okay? They're going to force you kids to take certain medicines, poisons, okay? You're going to be forced in certain institutions to have something which is called mentally ill medical centers, that people like us will be classified with the mentally ill or being mentally ill, okay, because of the words we speak. They're going to say what we're speaking is blasphemous, it's bigotry, you see? And it's going to be the cause of us being thrown in these prisons, man, and labeled and persecuted as being undesirables. And the masses of the people will eat that up because, as I've always stated, the prophets, we don't have public opinion on our side, okay? And it says here, and spake peaceable words unto them, but all was deceit. For when they had given them credence, he fell suddenly upon the city and smote it very sore, and destroyed much people of Israel. And those days are coming back, okay? Because this is going to be an hour of Jacob's trouble. It's going to be a lot that's going to transpire in the particular times we're coming in, okay? And this is why Yahweh Shai stated that there's no other time since the beginning of time, unlike the time we get ready to enter into. And 2023 is going to be a hell of a year, brothers. Okay, 2022 was this year was crazy by far. It was very diverse. It was up and down. It was emotional. It was saddening. It was angry. You had your happy moments. But it was basically a year of just straight affliction and confusion. Okay, and when this year come and go, then hey, you better believe the Most High is getting ready to stir the pot. Okay, I won't be surprised if something kicks off next month, as early as January, you know, some big cataclysmic event. But, you know, like I said, I speak as a man, you know, but you know, the Lord is getting ready to turn up the pot of judgment next year. A lot of people are getting ready to die. A lot of our family members are getting ready to drop dead. A lot of people we was in relationships with, they're getting ready to be destroyed. They're getting ready to drop dead. Okay, so just prepare your minds, brothers, man. 2023 is going to be a year that's far diverse from this year. Okay, it's not going to be bouncing back. It ain't going to be no economic rebound and all this other nonsense. No. The Lord is getting ready to bring heavy judgment. Okay, and this is the reason why they're talking about taking away people's civil freedoms, because they don't want people to oppose their New World Order. All right. And it says, and when he had taken the spoils of the city, he set it on fire and poured down the house and walls thereof on every side. But the women and children they took captive and possessed the cattle. See, they imprisoned them. Okay, they put them in these particular garrison holds. And it says, and they put therefore therein a sinful nation, wicked men, and fortify themselves therein. And they also stored it with armors and victuals. And when they have gathered together the spoils of Jerusalem, they had laid them up there, so that they became a sore snare. And for it was a place to lie in wait against the sanctuary, an evil adversary to Israel. Thus they shed innocent blood on every side of the sanctuary and defiled it. Okay, and I'm going to go down a little bit. 41, moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his people, to his whole kingdom, that all should be one people, the New World Order, and that everyone should leave his laws, so that the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Okay, and that's basically what you're seeing happening. Everybody's coming under this one world banner. Okay, there's going to be a technocratic setup. Like it tells you in Daniel, knowledge shall increase. You see, the age of the computer, the age of knowledge. And everybody's going to have to fall in line with this particular paradigm. But it says, yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed to idols and profaned the Sabbath, meaning that we had no right. Okay, we had to go against our own customs and laws, statutes, and commandments, which was spiritual, because the Most High raised up the Maccabees, And in this day and age of rebelliousness and lawlessness, the Most High is going to raise up the servants of the Lord with that spiritual power, man. And I believe that any day now. And it says, for the king sent letters by messengers into Jerusalem and the cities of Judah that they should follow the strange laws of the land, right? Meaning that, hey, they took away our right to serve our commandments, to serve our God. And it says, and forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple, that they should profane the Sabbaths and festival days, and polluted the sanctuary and holy people of Israel, of the holy people, and set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh and unclean beasts, that they shall also leave their children uncircumcised, and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation, to the end they may forget the law and change the ordinance. And whosoever will not do according to the commandment of the king, he said he shall die. So that's the point right there, man. So that day is coming back, and it's coming back fast. And you Jakes, man, you Israelites that's in to know, you got to make a stance on what you're going to do. Either you're going to side with the system, or you're going to stand on the side of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. All right, there should be no question. We choose the side of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts. You know. So, hey, blood in, blood out. Prepare your minds, prepare your souls. And, hey, call on the name of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai in that day. We're going to need it. And with that, all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. And with that, Shalom and the Bible Ball.